I don't like the fact that to go up and down, well, to change attitude, you have to click. There's no button that angles your ship up or down on the x-axis. The nose up and down, I mean. Because there is no up in space. Technically, you flip the ship over, up would be down, and down would be up, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so I think it's time to rename the stream talking about the ultimate question of life, universe, and everything. Hey, man, that's the way it works, dude. That's what the mining stream is all about. So thank you to Downslide for that, my dude. So where was I? Talking about technology, correct? Oh man, come on, dude. Come on. I'm trying to discuss things here. You're killing me. This is why I want a big one. I guess someone else was mining that one earlier. You stay over there, buddy. You stay over there. You stay over there. The big questions in life. The big questions in life. Which are guns, Xenos, purging, and glory. Always, always. The biggest questions. The biggest. So yeah. So if you have an ideology or a religion or something along those lines that suppresses the ability for your species to advance, not only technologically but societally as well. One of the things that people forget in today's modern times about our past, where people were Rasmuses. I'm using that word because, let's just be real, I don't want to speak in normal language, because any normal language you use will be twisted and skewed and used as a bludgeon to utterly destroy your life. So all the people in the past that were Rasmuses, and how it was all Rasmuses, no matter what. I forget where I was going with that point. God dang it. It's one of the problems with modern times is that, oh yeah, that's what it is. So all the people that we look back on and we say, people like Frederick Douglass, people who would be considered today, by today's sensibilities, completely and utterly, I think nowadays is going to be named the second dark age in the future. Maybe that might be the case. Did we break that asteroid up? I think we did. Maybe? Hell, I don't know. I keep forgetting what I was talking about. Is no bueno. It's no bueno. But anyway, one of the things that God, I really did forget where I was going with that. But anyway, so even if you have an ideology that prevents you from developing certain technologies, because, like, for instance, communism is one of those ideologies. It's not an economic system. It's a moral system that has economic foundations. Is it not targeting? What is going on with this? It says I found a rich deposit. I think the game is glitching out. Here, let me move a little bit. Maybe I wasn't close enough or something. See all the spinny ore? Did I just go through that one? I think so. I think the game is glitching out. Uh-oh. Oh, that's why. Enemy ships are inbound. Okay. Where are they? Is that what it is? I gotta pay attention to the game. Marx is spinning his grave after your words. Dude, he can suck it. That's all I gotta say. Ah, there they are. There they are. Really? Alright, well, I'm just gonna leave.
FTL drive engaged.
Goodbye, sir. See you next time. Get out of here. Yeah, Marx is spinning his grave. He can suck it. Lenin, too. And so what happens is that it's a moral system that has economic foundations. And what I mean by that is that the reason like for instance, capitalism is not a moral foundation. It is amoral, and it is simply a tool, a system of trading things. Basically, is a basic broad overview with a broad brush. That's basically what it is. It's a way of trading things. within a system. There's a mercantile system. There's all kinds of other things. And communism is not an actual economic system. It is a moral system. It is a moral foundation. Everybody should be equal. Everybody should get the same amount of resources because that's what's fair. And then they base their economic system on that and on that moral foundation. It would be like if Christianity or Islam had they say this is what is moral, and therefore we're going to base our economic system on this. And in fact, it's one of the reasons that England that Europe was so, how should I put this? Suppressed in such a way economically and developmentally is because of the fact that Christians thought it was amoral to charge interest on loans. So you couldn't loan someone money and charge interest. It was illegal. Wait. No. I want to go here. Okay, we're going the wrong way. All right. So yeah, it was illegal to charge interest on loans. What does that mean? Well, that means that almost nobody's going to give loans because there's no reason to. There's no incentive to give massive loans to people. Now, you could say, oh, it can be abused, and of course it can. But the thing about it is that one of the reasons that capitalism works so well, just as a system in and of itself, is because of the capital part. You can use your own self as capital. You can use anything as capital. You know, if you're and if let's say you want to start a business, but it's going to require lots of money to start your business, you need a loan for that. If no one can charge interest on a loan for that, then no one's going to give you that loan because they have no incentive to do so. Why would I give you like $100,000 to start a business when I'm just going to get $100,000 back? Now you say, oh, you can do it out of the good of your own heart. Yeah, but who really does that? Who does that? There are people that do. There are philanthropists, but that basically is. It solidifies the economic system of mercantilism and a class system of like lords and ladies and dukes and duchesses and all that stuff, because the only people who were rich enough to do that kind of thing were the aristocracy, the lords and all those guys, the kings. Those were the dudes with all the money, so they were the ones that could give the loans, and they gave loans to their friends because they could, because that was the philanthropy that they were doing. But when you have an economic system that incentivizes giving loans, yes, it can be abused. Yes, it can screw up people's lives and all those other things. Yes, this is all true. But it also makes it to where responsible individuals who use that money to capitalize on can create even more wealth out of that. So you use a loan to start a business, and now your business is flourishing. You can now pay back your loan. So that dude who gave you a loan makes a little bit of money, right? And then once you get through paying off the loan, he's not making money anymore on that loan, but you're still making money. So you've increased the amount of capital in the world. G Phoenix 341, greetings and salutations, my friend. Welcome to the channel. Thank you for that follow. I know it's the mining stream of the day. It's going to be glorious. All right, we are actually full on ore. That is why I couldn't hold anymore. I am a derp. Let's get out of here. Let's get on. All right, so once you have a no, we're not going to do raiders. So where was I at? So you have a system that allows you to increase the amount of wealth in the world. So the dude that gave you the loan, he made a little bit of money. But now that you've used that loan to build a business, you're making money. You're making more money than you were. You're able to hire people who are making money that they weren't able to make before because that job didn't exist that you created. And so on and so forth and so forth and so forth. And you do this in hundreds of thousands of times in permeations over 1,000 years, and you get a giant frickin' system like we got today. Now, it's not 1,000 years old, but that's not the point. The point is that if you have an ideological system, crap. Can I dock?
Docking.
Yes. Excellent. So if you have an ideological system that prevents you from developing capital and to incentivizing people to do more, to be better, to build things, then nobody builds anything. Nobody builds anything. You don't get crazy mofos like Elon Musk doing crazy bullshit that advances us. You know what I mean? One of the biggest things that people talk about when they talk about at least something that's detrimental as far as capitalism goes is somebody like Nikola Tesla. But the thing that people fail to realize is that Nikola Tesla wouldn't have been able to do any of the shit that he did in a non-capitalistic system. And even though all the things that he did ended up not benefiting him because he gave all his stuff away, the thing about it is if he hadn't given all of his stuff away, if he hadn't given all of his patents away, he might have had the money to do the things that he wanted to do. But because he kept giving his patents away, because he was this so altruistic individual, it actually may have worked against him in some ways. But that's neither here nor there. That man was amazing. And, you know, his own farewell, Tango Life. The Tango Life, baby. That man was, like I said, that man was amazing. Cheers to him. That's all I got to say. And I hope that one day we actually discover the ability to transmit electricity wirelessly across the planet. That, my friends, would be amazing. Okay, back to the mining. Dude, I'm talking about the Fermi Paradox, and we're on everything but that, right? So, so if you have an ideological system that prevents you from developing as a civilization, then what it will do is it will prevent you. It will actually keep you in the dark ages, so to speak. And that is what things like an economic system like fascism, like communism, because let's be real, fascism was national socialism is socialism. It's national socialism. Communism is international socialism. And so it's a similar economic system in that it wants to redistribute all the resources to everybody almost evenly, except for a few people at the top who control everything. And not only do they get all the resources, but they get to determine who gets all the other resources. And so one of the things that capitalism does is it allows you it allows resources to be distributed based on other factors than individual human beings necessarily. But anyway, that's beside the point. So if you have an ideology that holds you back, it could potentially hold you back from developing space travel. It could hold you back from developing, that thing is getting closer and closer and closer. I don't like that. I don't like you, buddy. I don't like you. And here we come to socialism. It's always about socialism, dude. As the great Vladimir Lenin said, the goal of socialism, my friends, my comrades, is communism. So if you have an ideology that holds you back, and it could be a religion. I mean, let's be real. It could be, dude, he is getting like super close. It could be a religion more than say like communism. I just like ragging on communism because it has nothing to do with God or meaning in life or any of that other nonsense. It's all about the assumption that you can reform man into something that he is not. It's as simple as that. And so if you have a system that takes advantage of our innate characteristics, then it would probably work better than one that does not. That one's like 2,000 away. So it looks like he's probably not going to get any closer. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah, so if you have an ideology that holds you back, let's say it's more of a religion. Because that's a bit more fair in general. So you could have a very fundamentalist religion that basically shuns technology, but that would not solve all of the permutations of the Fermi Paradox. Not every civilization that ever developed throughout the entire history of the universe would develop an ideology that would prevent them from developing technology. Not only that, you have to think about it like this as well. Just like the Prime Directive in Star Trek is kind of bunk because not everyone would follow it. In your giant, multi-trillion population empire that crosses the stars, there would be a large swath of the population that would not agree with that and would want to be beneficent with technology and uplift people. There would be a large swath of people in your civilization that would also want to be malevolent and uplift people into and make them essentially Xenos slaves and all this other nonsense. So any civilization that ends up suppressing technology will probably end up losing unless they control the entire planet and all people on it. So one of the reasons why some civilizations are held back while others go forward is imagine if a large swath of the population of the planet were Amish and they all wanted to live in like 16th century technology. And then you had a place like, let's just pick a random country, Spain. Spain was the only country on the planet that did not have this Amish ideology that kept them stuck in the 16th century. And here we come to totalitarianism. Of course we do, because it all has to do with that. It all has to do with it. It all comes down to control. If you have freedom, then permutations are infinite as far as that goes. And let's be real, dude, they go hand in hand. They just do. They just do. Is that one close enough? Can I get that one? Oh, I can. Oh, I can. So, where was I? Damn it, game. Why do you keep doing that? I'm trying to click. Click. There we go. And I keep losing my train of thought. Thanks, Farwell. Appreciate it, buddy. I'm kidding, dude. I love it. Keeping me on my toes. But anyway, so let's say the entire planet is Amish, and Spain is the only place on the planet that does not have this Amish ideology that keeps them trapped in the 16th century level of technology. What will happen is that the people who have the ideology that develops advanced technology and it has to, and you have to, if I won't joke and you'll become serious, yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. So not only do you have a civilization that that does not eschew advanced technology, they will outstrip and outpace the civilization that does eschew advanced technology so quickly that it won't even be funny. It'll be absolutely ridiculous, especially if that civilization is also a breeder civilization, i.e., they believe in expansion. So they have a lot of kids. They expand the borders of their I don't want to say empire, because that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about like conquering and stuff like that. I'm talking about increasing their population, spreading out, doing what normal human beings do, and take up space, essentially like that. So eventually, if we lived in a world like that, eventually Spain would come to control the entire planet. Because a lot of the people in the Amish rest of the world would look at Spain and be like, oh my God, look at their quality of life. Because that's what happens in the actual Amish community, because they have freedom. They're given the choice because they're not totalitarian assholes. Their children are given the choice to become English or to stay Amish. And so they can choose to leave their bullshit and come to our bullshit. And if that were the case in our example, then the entire world would be controlled by Spain's advanced technological society, and there'd be small pockets of reservations, just like there are in the United States, of Amish-controlled land where people just want to live a simple life, and that's that. I won't mind living in Spain while I'm living in Russia. But I'm just using it as a silly example. Are we full? Yeah, we're full. Damn, dude. I talk too much. Apparently that's what's going on here. All right, let's do it. We'll go drop off some more. All right, so any society that seeks to expand and advance technologically and societally will always beat a civilization that does not expand and does not advance technologically or societally. That is the case. Even if in the short term it does not appear so, because of totalitarianism or any other, thing, eventually that will not be the case unless they control all of the population of all of the planet, which is basically what H.G. Wells talked about in his book 1984, where the ideology of Ingsoc controlled the entire planet. Now, technically Ingsoc only controlled a third of the planet, but the other 2/3 factions were basically the same exact thing, just had different rulers. And so that's what was keeping humans technologically bound to where they were and society completely suppressed. And that's one of those things. Oh, yeah, that's it. So earlier I was talking about people being Rasmuses and whatnot, and why it's so dangerous what people do today about judging the past on today's morals. Because what people don't understand is that societal advancement is a lot like technological advancement. When you look back at, say, the Aztecs, they had human sacrifice in the 16th century. They cut the hearts out of people. Hundreds of them, thousands of them. This was in the 16th century. 15th century, 16th century, 17th century, before it was done away with because of, we all know the story of that. They never let us forget that. But the point I'm getting at here is that humans used to do that a lot way back in the day. Where I could sacrifice anyone for gold, right? So humans used to do, all human societies used to do those kinds of horrible things way back in the day. And it's only through societal advancement that we learn that these things are wrong, these things are immoral. The fact that we know that things are immoral, or that we have a concept of morality and immorality, is an actual advancement of society. It's a technological advancement in the sociological advancement area. So it's like, imagine civilization. Video games are one of the best examples of this because it gamifies the shit out of it, and it really puts it into perspective. In games like Civilization, you not only have technological advancement, you also have societal advancement, so that you develop different forms of government that do different things, that have different abilities. Like, you're never going to develop space travel with a tribal government. It's not going to happen. Like, it's why I think the movie Black Panther is so utterly ridiculous. To think that such an advanced society could exist with an absolute monarchy based on based on the strongest rules is kind of ridiculous to me, because they've had all this crazy, like, they're more advanced than the actual rest of the planet in technological terms, but less advanced than the rest of the planet in societal terms. That is just ass backwards to me, beyond all belief. If you know what I'm getting at here, it's kind of stupid. It's a really kind of stupid. Oh, hello. Let's get this one. Let's get this one. Yeah, I want to get this one. Come now, Bobby. Let's go, baby. Straight up. Click through the hole. Oh, dude, are we gonna fly through the hole? Yes. Station. I want it, baby. And park it right here. Boom. This is awesome. Dude. This is great. So, yeah, so in games like Civilization, you have the ability to advance your society as well as your technology. And this kind of advancement gives you bonuses and all kinds of things, but it's more, if you think about it in real life, it works in a similar way. So saying that people like people from the past, the ancient Greeks, the ancient Romans, or even people like Thomas Jefferson, Frederick Douglass, Abraham Lincoln. And I know I'm very Amerocentric here, and I apologize for that, but it's very central to the cultural revolution that's going on over in the West right now. It's stuff like that. Winston Churchill too. That's another one. A lot of British and a lot of French, and I mean you could even do Russian as far as Farwell is concerned. Because like Marx, Lenin, they were all racist assholes, right? But to say to be able to judge them on today's morals is a complete and is completely idiotic. And the reason I say that is because they didn't have the tools that we have today. Am I actually mining any of this? Yeah, I am. Okay, there we go. Okay, it didn't look like it was mining. Anyway, so they didn't have the tools, especially back in like the 1700s. They didn't have the tools. They were the ones who were standing on giants to make a system like the constitutional republic that they were trying to build, as far as the founding fathers of the United States goes. And the same with the others. They didn't have the moral foundations to do it. So judging those people on today's morals is like judging ancient technology based on today's technology. It's utterly stupid. It's like saying Roman centurions, Roman soldiers from 2,000-3,000 years ago were shit because they didn't have machine guns. Oh, they're using swords? They're using swords? Oh, how bad are they? They're bad soldiers. That's not a good army. No, you can't conquer the world with swords. Are you kidding me? That's bullshit. Absolute bullshit. They stole all that shit. Blah, 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 blah. You know, all that dumb crap. It's stupid on the face of it, straight up, because they had what they had and they had to work with what they had. And the thing about it is that the people that we could say are, you know, they were Rasmuses, they were bad, they were slavers, they did all this stuff. The thing about it is that they were doing what they could do with what they had at the time. And to judge them based on today makes literally no sense if you think about it at all. And that's one of the problems is they don't want to think, is that a lot of people don't want to think about it. They simply want to judge it. They want to look at it and be like, no, that's wrong, and get rid of it. And the problem with that is it's like if we did that, if we did that with technology, we would go back to the Stone Age, right? Because swords are bad. That's bad military tech. Let's erase that from our history. Horse-drawn carriages, that's bad. Let's erase that from our history. Let's erase all of this technology from our history. What happens? We lose the foundations of our current technology, and we will lack the ability to advance forward more than we already have, because it's that understanding of the past, of our past technological advancements, that gives us insights into how to move forward. If you try to advance technology based only on what we know today, you will only go so far. Sorry, I'm sipping on that one. Oh my goodness. Let's not and say we did. How about that? Is that good? Is that good? Dude, I love the fact that you could just free flow through this, man. It's so good. There's a lot of space games where you can't, dude. You can just go anywhere. A lot of the new ones you can, obviously. But anyway, so when you have societal advancement like that, the thing we fail to realize is that those people were the giants of their time. People who were philosophically more advanced than all the other humans. And the thing you have to remember is that humans have basically been the same for about 2 million years. Our ancestors were not stupid. The people that wrote the Bible were not stupid. The people that wrote the Govadiva in India for their religion were not stupid. These people were not idiots, right? They were giants of their era. But compared to today's philosophical understanding, compared to today's technological understanding of the universe and of our world, they would be primitives. And that's fair, because they were ignorant, but they were not stupid. Not at all. You are basically the same human that was around during ancient Egypt when they were building pyramids. You know, when they were sacrificing humans, then when they were sacrificing other humans and cutting their hearts out to sacrifice them to, I forget the name of it was like Chichen Itza, the god or whatever, in the Aztec, they were the same as you. The same brain capacity, the same human body, every single aspect of you was pretty much the same, except for who you are and your moral understanding of the universe. And that moral understanding of the universe was gained through thousands upon thousands of years of technological and societal advancement. And so if you have an ideology that holds you back, or an ideology that erases your history, it would be really hard for a society to advance into space and then from space on to colonize a galaxy or solar systems or whatever. So imagine if the Cultural Revolution of today completely and utterly wiped away all of our drive to want to colonize. Because I've actually seen the articles that have said, colonizing Mars is an extension of colonialism from the 16th century. And they're not wrong insofar as the reasons given are we want to expand, we need more space, we want more things. This is true. The difference between... Ooh, I'm full on cargo. You can actually see the cargo number right here. I didn't actually notice that. One of the things that... they're not wrong in the general broad stroke that is the case. That is true. The difference between those things is that places like Mars, no one lives there. If we go and colonize it, it will make livable space for people to live there. It's not like we're taking something from somebody else that already is there. It's we've advanced technologically to be able to go to other planets, but we've also advanced societally. So we know there's nobody there, so we know it's not immoral to go to the moon, to go to Mars, to go to the Jovian system and claim these rocks, these barren rocks that have nothing on them, that have no life, and make them sustainable for life. This is a good thing. We know it is a good thing because we have advanced far enough as a society and as a technologically and societally as a species to understand that this is the case. And so if the moral foundations of the Cultural Revolution of today were to permeate the entirety of the planet, we would be stuck on this rock right here, the one we're on right now. We'd be stuck forever. Well, not necessarily forever, because there'd probably be another cultural revolution within 100 years, and it would throw all that shit out the window and do the same exact thing that the cultural revolution is doing today. So it's a misnomer on that part, but that's beside the point. So it's not a really good solution for the Fermi paradox, but it is a solution. As usual, it's not a solution that would explain why we don't see any at all alien civilizations out there. So we've discussed a few things, and let's go past the ideology, because I get stuck on this because of all the relevance that it has today, and we don't need to get stuck on that anymore. So once you've developed space travel, there are other things that could prevent you from getting out into the galaxy and colonizing it. And let me see. One of those things is imagine. So I said earlier, imagine if our planet did not have the metallicity that it has now, where we were unable to develop advanced metallurgy, right? And then I also talked about how if we didn't have the ability to make fire and those advanced metals, the ability to make fire and have metals to make advanced metallurgy, we would not be able to have developed as much technologically. I need to turn the music down. It's very loud in my ears. I don't know why it keeps going up. Anyway, so imagine we also never develop fossil fuels. Just think about it for a second. Just chill. So if we never develop fossil fuels, our society, we would not have the technological society we have today. The fact that we have solar cells is because we have petroleum. The fact that we have renewable technology is because we have all these things. The development of fossil fuel power is one of the things that enabled us to develop renewable. God dang, dude, the music is so loud. I do not understand why it keeps turning up. I'm just gonna have to turn it down. It's so loud in my ear. Anyway, but one of the reasons why we have a lot of the technology that we have today is because of fossil fuels. Because fossil fuels is an extremely efficient way to, as far as other, like burning wood is extremely inefficient compared to fossil fuels as far as extracting energy from your environment. And so if we never developed fossil fuels, if we didn't have fossil fuels, then it's entirely possible we would never be able to develop space travel. And let's say our civilization collapses entirely, we may not get another shot at space travel because there may not be enough fossil fuels left on the planet in easily extractable form to be able to build another technological society like we have today to be able to get into space. So this is basically our one shot. So we shouldn't screw it up. That's kind of what I'm getting at here. And so you have a Fermi paradox solution that also comes to the fact that if you don't develop sufficient technological advancement, or your civilization falls, and then you run out of certain elements, like fossil fuels, for instance, that would allow you to develop the technology necessary to do space travel in the way that we do it today, then that would prevent a species from, getting out into the galaxy. And that could be one of the solutions. Although I highly doubt it, insofar as civilizations falling, because let's say our civilization did fall today. We have photovoltaic technology. You don't need fossil fuels to make rockets. Okay, I'm just going to say that straight out. You need fossil fuels to make the things that are on the rocket. So rocket fuel is hydrogen and oxygen, and much of the internal mechanisms of rocket engines is metal, and doesn't require any fossil fuels in its base construction. It just requires, we use fossil fuels to make them. We use fossil fuels in the development of these things, and certain plastics are needed, which are developed from fossil fuels to make certain components on these things. Damn, dude, this thing is fast, dude. The double lasers is really, really doing it for me. So I know I'm just rambling on and on. I'm having a great time, dude. I hope you guys are too. Thank you for being here today. I very much appreciate it. I'm humbled every single day that you guys come and watch me purge the Xenos Scum and talk about things that are very esoteric and very out there. I very much appreciate it. You guys are so very awesome. But anyway, so once we reach a spacefaring civilization, there are other considerations as well. Let's get off of Earth and let's get out into at least the solar system, okay? So one of the things that could be a problem. Hopi, greetings and salutations. How are you this morning? Sip to you, my darling. Sip to you. One of the things that could be that have a detrimental effect on our ability to colonize the galaxy, or anybody's ability to colonize the galaxy, is the fact that there FTL drive may not be a thing. So one of the solutions is that it may not actually be possible to colonize the galaxy. And we don't need FTL to actually colonize the galaxy. In fact, it's estimated that with non-FTL drives, with using relatively modern technology, maybe like 100 years in the future, develop of the technology with no FTL, so all sublight, it would only take us like 2 to 10 million years to colonize the entire galaxy. That basically means every star in the galaxy, for the most part, will have humans around it. 2 to 10 million years. Sounds like a long time. It does. But humans have only been around for 2 million years. 2 million years is how old the human species is. And so it would take us that long, if not, 8 times as long, or 5 times as long to colonize the galaxy. That, and as far as universe time, that's a blink of an eye. The universe is 13 billion years old. So if it would only take us 2 to 10 million years to colonize the galaxy, it would only take 2 to 10 million years for any other species that's just like us to colonize their galaxy, or this galaxy for that matter. And so it begs this is where the paradox really comes into focus. Is like, if we could do it in that time, and that's a very conservative estimate. That's very conservative. It's possible we could do it much quicker, depending on how our civilization develops from here on out. We could develop much quicker, especially if we became an extremely colonial species, especially if we developed a form of space, especially if we also developed extreme life extension technology to the point where the only time anybody died is if they chose to. Like, even accidents. Oh, your spaceship blew up, you're dead. No, because there's a backup of your mind at the central place where everybody backs up their mind. Yeah, that could be a thing where nobody dies unless they want to die. If you want to continue to live and you want to live forever, you can. Imagine that. And guess what? It's entirely possible that there are people alive today that will live forever, or as long as they want to. I need some Irish coffee, since like I'm coming back on quantum physics every time I was sleeping there. Nice. So if it only would take 2 to 10 million years, where is everybody? That's the real question. And so one of the solutions that is, it's nihilism. Civilizations, much like ours, like as you can see in our current cultural revolution, is that there's a lot of nihilism going around, a lot of, no meaning in life. And it is driving people to do really dumbass things like, break the system because it doesn't serve their needs in the way that gives them fulfillment. And I believe it was Jung that said that if human beings were given a utopia and all they had to do was to busy themselves was eating and the continuation of the species, then after about a week, maybe a month, maybe a year, they would break it. They would break it because then something interesting would happen. And when you say it like that, it makes a lot of sense. And like they definitely like turn something over and set fire to it. A lot of people do that. And so if we develop a utopia, which, let's be real, to many of our ancestors, like if you talk to someone 1,000 years ago, living in medieval Europe, living in, Africa, Australia, anywhere in the world, and you showed them the way that Americans live today, that most first worlders live today, most Europeans, Russians, even in Africa, even all over the world, dude, there are people with first world lives. And you showed them how they lived, but specifically in the United States because of the actual entire infrastructure system we've developed today, it would be utopia to them. Almost no one starves here in the U.S. That's revolutionary, and no one talks about it. No one starves. There's not only enough food, we make sure everybody gets it through philanthropy, through taxation. By the way, taxation is theft. Just throwing that out there. Doesn't mean we shouldn't do it. It just means we should be careful about how we do it. So that is a revolutionary step in human society, human evolution, as far as technology and everything goes. Because man, it was less, and it's only been that way for 20, 30 years now, where almost no one dies of starvation, where even if you're homeless, you can still get enough food. I've actually seen some of the homeless people on the side of the street who sit there and ask for money. I've actually went up to a few of them and be like, I don't want to give you money, but I'll definitely give you food. And one of them told me, he's like, no, I eat fine, man. It's just I just need drinking money. I was like, excuse me? He was like, yeah, I eat fine, man. I get more than enough food. I want something to drink. And I was like, well, man, I appreciate you being honest. I actually gave him $1 for that because he was completely honest with me. I was like, okay, fair enough. It's like, you do you, man. You do you. Now, was that detrimental to him? Possibly. But the point is he wasn't trying to bullshit me, so I appreciated that at the very least. And so what we have today in many parts of the world would be considered a utopia to our ancestors. Imagine that. Look at the technological advancement that we have. It would also be considered a utopian thing. The ability to communicate across the planet. Like, Farwell, you're in freaking Russia, dude. You're literally on the other side of the planet. You know what I mean? And it's like this kind of thing would be considered magic 1,000 years ago. And we consider it mundane today. And yet this is the type of stuff that's in Star Trek. If they made Star Trek 1,000 years ago, it would be our lives today. As mundane and boring as they are, we would be considered, that's how they would consider us. If they had TVs and story, just if they told stories about today, that's what it would feel like. To them, it would be like watching Star Trek. These advanced civilizations where they have, machines that can make food in the blink of an eye, and everybody's fed, and nobody has to worry about all this other bullshit and la 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 la. It's actually kind of crazy when you think about it. It's actually kind of crazy. And so, once you reach a certain level of technology, it can destroy your civilization. Because if you have enough stuff for everyone, then what is the point of striving? Why does one work hard? Why does one work hard if you have everything you need? If you don't need to work hard to survive, why would you work hard? Well, one of the things that a lot of people have come up with, and something that I've seen a lot of, and that it's really motivated me, because I went through this too, the existential nihilism of having a meaningless existence and all this other stuff. It really, I went through that, especially in the military, just because of how ridiculous it is when you're in the military. It just, like, every day is like you feel extremely oppressed when you're in the United States military. Let's just put it like that. I'm sure that works that way with every military. So the extreme nihilism can utterly obliterate your civilization, because if you give every citizen, every person, the ability to not have to strive for food. They don't have to work. Nobody has to work hard for food. Nobody has to work hard for shelter. Nobody has to work hard for anything that's required for basic sustenance and living. Then the only thing you have to work hard for is to have a better one. Then there are a large amount of people who will not work hard at all and literally just sustain themselves on what they're given. We know this to be true. Animals do the same exact thing. This is why you have signs in zoos and in wildlife preserves that say, do not feed the animals or they will become dependent on humans. Humans are animals. If you feed them, they will become dependent. It's as simple as that. We are no different in that aspect of being animals. And so imagine we had an even more advanced technologically and society where we had colonized most of this, some of the solar system. Let's say we had colonies on Mars. We were building space stations that people could live on, habitats, around Earth, around the sun, Mercury, Venus, maybe a few in the Jovian system, some in the Saturnian system, extending out into the outer reaches of the solar system. Maybe there was like one or two colonies out in the Oort cloud or some stuff. It's entirely possible. And then imagine that basically everybody was nihilistic about it. And eventually we would essentially turn on ourselves and our civilization would collapse in on itself. And that's one of the solutions to the Fermi paradox as well, is that a civilization has become so technologically advanced that everybody loses the drive to continue on. Nobody wants to procreate because nobody gives a damn about the responsibility. That's one of the things that's happening in our society. In the Western society, I should say, is that many people don't want to have kids because they don't want the responsibility. They want to be selfish. They don't want to plant trees that they'll never be able to sit in the shade of. And it's very disheartening because, I didn't want to do that. I was that way too, especially in the military. I didn't want to have kids. In fact, I married a woman who could not have children because I didn't want to have children. I was the same exact way. I didn't want the responsibility. I said I was very selfish and all this other stuff, and I was very nihilistic, and I was miserable even in the military. I was doing the thing. I was leading a life that was fairly good. I had all the material things I could ever want, and I had a wife, and I had a house. And life was pretty good, but I was still miserable. And I never understood why. A lot of it was because I didn't work out enough. I didn't get enough sun. I didn't eat right. There's a lot of other things other than just nihilism and procreation and all that. But when I started to change my life, I realized that one of the things that I needed to do was take responsibility for things. I needed to build something. And so that's one of the reasons I started streaming, is I wanted to build a channel. I wanted to do something. I wanted to have meaning in my life. And I got to admit, it motivates me every day to get the hell out of bed and to do things. It motivated me today to get up and talk about this because it's so very cool and it's so very awesome, and I absolutely love talking about this kind of thing. And I know I'm rambling on and on and on, and I apologize for that, but I'm hoping you guys are enjoying it, or at least following along with it. So once I realized that those kinds of things were important in my life. Here's the funniest part, right? Having children didn't mean anything to me until someone made a logical argument that I should have children because if I didn't, I was basically snubbing my nose in the entirety of civilization. And the reason that is like you have a social responsibility to have children. And the reason that is it's not just some religious bullshit. It's a thing. It's because you were raised in society, right? You have had access to all this amazing technology and infrastructure and the society around you, the people, the money, the value, everything that's involved in your society, every little thing that most of us don't think about. You know, running water, all that kind of stuff. Let's see, we're at max capacity, so we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. I'm gonna head on back, and I think I'm gonna do some refining here, and then we may get into some space combat because I'm seeing quite a few of these bros rolling around, and I would love to steal their shit. I would love to steal their shit. He's got 5 turrets. Holy crap! Heavy ion beam. How much hull does he have? Cargo, speed, shields is 1200. Does it say how much hull he's got? No data on armor. I don't know about all that. What is that one? That's a Ferris Pike. Yeah, that's an interceptor. He's only got 3 weapons. We might go after him when we come back out of here. Anyway, so the reason it's a societal responsibility is because you were given all this stuff to help you succeed. And it is extremely selfish to not give back into that system to help others, right? Because one of the things that you were also given is the benefit of a tax base. So every single person in your society is taxed, and that money that that is taxed is used to build the infrastructure, to build the schools, to build to help build the gas stations and all the things that All right, let's do this. We'll have to do it one at a time here. Okay, we'll get gypsum. And what's next? That. Can we get that? Excellent. All right. That is not enough space. What about that one? Nope. 70? There we go. Okay, we got one. And so all of those things were there for you to have. But if you don't have kids, then what that means is that in the future generations will not have the same benefit that you had, because your parents had kids. So your parents had kids, and you sucked up all the resources that were needed for children. And if you don't have children of your own to give back to create a tax base for the future, then you are simply stripping value away from your society. And so it is the easiest way to give back to your society is to have children and raise them to be moral, functioning members of society. That's the key. Not just to have children. Having children and not doing the other part is actually worse than not having children, in my opinion. Depending. Let's go ahead and start the ore refinery. So it only does 30 units at a time. That's very interesting. All right, I have 4 gypsum. Oh, that's nice. So this is pretty cool. It didn't take too long to do all this. And so if I actually had a much bigger cargo hold, this would be very easy. Excuse me. Whew, excuse me. Okay, sorry about that. I had to sneeze there. All right, let's get out of this. And we're going to get rid of that. Just going to throw all that stuff in there. Okay, 99, 87, 77, 74, 125 tungsten. Oh, wait, I ain't got enough. Okay, and so if you have a civilization that ends up being extremely nihilistic and they don't have life extension technology, or even if they do have life extension technology, they still don't procreate and expand their civilization, then their civilization will stall and will stagnate. And if it stagnates long enough, you will have negative population growth, which means that your population will slowly degenerate over time. Because if you don't procreate and your population isn't increasing because of procreation, even though you may have life extension technology, there will still be people who will want to die. There are people today who want to die. There are people that die every day because they kill themselves. And so I can imagine that that it would still happen in the future, that even if you have life extension technology, even if you have every material need ever needed and supplied, there will still be people who, for whatever reason, do not want to continue to live and will end their lives. And I'm not gonna lie, normally I would call suicide not the best thing you could ever do because it hurts everybody around you. But if you've lived for like 10,000 years, is it really that big of a deal to be like, you know what, I think I'm done. I think I'm just gonna move on. That's a bit different. You know what I mean? That's a bit different. So especially because you can go away for a long time where no one can have interaction with you, so they don't know you're actually dead, and then you can just do the thing, and it won't be that big of a deal necessarily. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and let's clear selected, and we will clear all, and then we'll refine this ore. And so, if you have a society that has negative population growth, eventually it will collapse in on itself. In fact, the Superman movie, I believe it's Man of Steel, this is how Kryptonians ended up their civilization falling, right? Because none of them had children normally. Only Kal-El did. No, was it Kal-El? That was Jor-El. Jor-El, that was Kal-El's father. Superman's father is the one who had a baby the normal, quote-unquote, way. I believe that's how that went down. Everybody else was born in like a vat, grown and all this stuff, and so their civilization ended up collapsing in on itself because they became so self-centered and so self-focused that when their colonies started collapsing and their civilization started dying, they didn't really care, and they had no will as a species to continue to explore the stars and continue to push out into the universe, even with their extremely advanced technology. So this is another way that that the Fermi paradox could have a solution, although it is not a solution for all of them. Not every civilization will obviously become nihilistic, especially if they have good foundations in, like, imagine there is a new religion pops up that is extremely expansionist and extremely technologically driven. So like scientism, essentially, something along those lines. So it basically, the tenets are, we must always expand, we must keep breeding, we must raise our children properly, and we must keep technological advancement going forward. Now imagine that kind of ideology spread across the planet. We'd be colonizing the solar system within the next 100 years. Like, it would be boom. It would be happening. Absolutely, it would be happening. Because every single person in that ideology would be driven to do so. So it's like, even though you're not, going in the spaceship yourself, you're like, okay, it'd be like during World War II or any all total war thing. Any little thing you do that contributes to the war effort, you see as valuable, gives your life meaning. So even the people who like in World War II, for instance, the people who were in the States who stayed here instead of went over to Europe or into the Pacific and fought, they found great meaning in their lives going to work in an airplane factory or a tank factory and building tanks and making ammo and building planes, because they knew that their guys on the front needed this stuff, and it gave them purpose, and they worked their asses off for almost next to no pay, what we consider today, because they knew it was important. That kind of dedication could lead humanity, or any species that has that kind of ideology, to the stars in no time. So there are a lot of factors in that. There's also another solution to the paradox where you have an extremely xenophobic species, but they're also cowards, essentially. And so what that means is that they want to hide from the rest of the galaxy. They do not want to interact with the rest of the galaxy, so they hide. The only problem with this is that it would be very difficult to do so once you reach a certain technological amount of advancement. So that's a very weird solution, where hidden aliens, and so they would advance technologically and then they would basically hide themselves. But the problem is that once you reach a certain technological advancement phase, you need more and more and more resources. So they would have to artificially keep their civilization from growing. The problem with that solution, just like any other, as I explained earlier, any civilization that seeks expansion, or any ideology or part of a civilization that seeks expansion and growth, will always defeat the one that doesn't. So unless the ideology of xenophobic isolationism expands and controls in a totalitarian way the entirety of the civilization, eventually the part of the civilization that wants to expand and grow will outnumber